was a period though where you were invincible, and I couldn't play better than you.
Yeah.
It was like a 2-year period.
That's when I went through my breakup.
Oh, I wish I would have broke up.
Yeah, maybe.
Ako, it's come a long way since I last remember it. But last time I was here, I think this tournament, although it's not yet done, I think it's been a great success. I think
there are moments in sports that don't just become highlights. They become permanent turning points in how the world views an athlete. And the story of Alex Eala is slowly becoming one of those rare journeys where every match, every performance, and every reaction from legends adds another layer to something much bigger than tennis itself. Because what started as a young, promising player from the Philippines has now grown into a global conversation about talent, pressure, belief, and the unpredictable rise of a new generation in women's tennis. And as her name began appearing more often on major tournament stages, people started noticing something that statistics alone cannot explain: a certain calmness under pressure, a controlled aggression in long rallies, and a mindset that does not seem to break even when situations turn against her. And this combination slowly built her reputation not just as a rising player, but as someone different, someone who doesn't react to pressure the same way most young players do. And this became especially visible during high-stakes matches where momentum swings usually decide the outcome. Because in Melbourne at a major Australian Open quarterfinal stage, Alex Eala found herself in a situation where most players would have struggled to recover. She was down a set, facing an opponent who had full control of the match. And the atmosphere inside the stadium reflected that dominance. But instead of collapsing under pressure, she began rebuilding her game point by point, focusing on consistency, extending rallies, and forcing errors from her opponent. And slowly the match began to change shape, because what looked like a one-sided contest started turning into a battle of patience and mental strength. And as the second set approached a tiebreak, something completely shifted in her body language and decision-making. She stopped playing defensively and started dictating rallies with intent. And in that tiebreak, she produced one of the most composed performances of her young career, handling pressure moments with precision and emotional control that surprised even experienced analysts watching the match. And when she took that set, the entire momentum of the match flipped instantly, because what looked like a controlled victory for her opponent suddenly became a real fight for survival. And in the third set, she elevated even further, playing with fearless aggression, timing her shots perfectly, and maintaining intensity from the first point to the last, completing a comeback that quickly spread across social media as one of her most impressive performances. But what made this moment even more significant was not just the match itself, but who was watching from the stands. Because Serena Williams, one of the greatest players in the history of tennis, a 23-time Grand Slam champion who has seen every era, every champion, and every evolution of the sport, was present as a spectator, quietly observing what was unfolding on court. And her reaction during Alex Eala's performance immediately became a major talking point, because she was seen standing, clapping, and smiling in a way that fans rarely see from someone of her status. And that moment alone sparked global curiosity, because Serena Williams is not someone who reacts casually to performances. And after the match, when she was asked about Alex Eala, her response instantly changed the conversation around the young player, because instead of giving a simple or routine compliment, she spoke with seriousness and conviction, explaining that she had spent her entire life in tennis, witnessed countless champions across different generations, seen different styles dominate different eras, and yet still had never seen a player quite like Alex Eala. And that statement immediately went viral across the tennis world, because when Serena Williams speaks about greatness, it carries unmatched authority. And from that moment, Alex Eala was no longer just seen as a rising talent. She became a subject of global tennis discussion, and soon after, other legends of the sport including Billie Jean King, Martina Navratilova, and Chris Evert also shared their thoughts, each highlighting different aspects of her game, such as her mental strength, her fearless shot selection, and her ability to stay composed in pressure situations that often break even experienced professionals. And while all of this attention was growing outside the court, Alex Eala herself remained grounded, often speaking about how Serena Williams was her biggest inspiration growing up, not just as a champion, but as a symbol of resilience, discipline, and mental toughness. And hearing Serena's praise reportedly had a deep emotional impact on her, because it represented a rare moment where admiration and recognition met in real time, almost like a passing of belief between two generations, one that defined modern dominance and one that could potentially define the future of the sport. And as this narrative continued spreading, the conversation around Alex Eala slowly shifted. From how good is she to how far can she go? Because every performance she delivers adds another layer to her identity. Every tournament becomes a test of expectation, and every match becomes a stage where her story continues to evolve in real time. And what makes this journey even more compelling is that she is still early in her career, still developing physically, still refining her game, and still gaining experience against the highest level of competition, yet already being discussed, alongside names that have defined entire eras of tennis history. And that contrast between where she is now and where she could potentially go is exactly what keeps fans, analysts, and former players watching closely. Because in sports, when a legend like Serena Williams openly acknowledges a young player in such strong terms, it usually signals something deeper than just talent. It signals presence, impact, and long-term potential that cannot be ignored. And for Alex Eala, that journey is still unfolding with every match she plays, every challenge she faces, and every moment she steps on a court, carrying not just expectations from fans, but also the growing realization that she is becoming part of a much larger tennis story that is still being written in real time. And as her career continues to progress, every tournament she enters becomes another opportunity for her to redefine expectations. Every opponent becomes another test of her growth, and every victory or defeat becomes part of a larger narrative that the tennis world is now following closely. Because moments like this do not happen often in sport, where a young player rises with enough consistency, personality, and emotional strength to capture attention from legends, media, and global audiences at the same time. And that is why the world is not just watching her results anymore. They are watching her journey. Because it feels like something significant is forming beneath the surface, something that goes beyond rankings or titles, something built on belief, momentum, and recognition from the highest level of the sport. And as long as that continues, the story of Alex Eala will remain one of the most closely followed rising narratives in women's tennis, with Serena Williams' words acting as a permanent reminder that greatness is often recognized long before it is fully achieved.